Hi YouTube, long time no see. John J. Brook 01 coming at you live and direct. Now, I do apologise for the followers that do follow me, but I've been going through I suppose an incubation period, if you like, helping a lot of people, and I've been inundated. So for those that have got in contact with sobertogetherness@gmail.com, my heart felt, I can't believe I'm shocked at how many people just needed to be spoken to and such like, anyway, so that leads me on to why I'm doing on today. I'm very much entrenched in helping the addict and the alcoholic that suffers from addiction. However, in this day and age, and COVID-19 and isolation, mental health issues, and life changing as we once knew it, I just really wanted to sort of, how do I put it? I just want to make sure that if you're a parent, an uncle, an aunt, a brother, a sister, a nephew, a niece, whatever it may be within your circle of your family or friends even, if you find or think or believe that quite possibly someone in that domain might have a problem with food, gambling, sex, drinking, drugging, look at the behaviour, not the substance or what they're using, and look at the catastrophic events from their behaviour, how they behave. Are they walking around with a chip on their shoulder? Are they upset and think that life owes them something? It's never taking responsibility in respect of, it's always someone else's fault. If you can relate to that, then I will impress on and enlarge on your prick of conscience, if you like, to contact me on sobertogetherness@gmail.com. All one word, sobertogetherness. Because what I found over the last few months of being very quiet and working on my own recovery, and for first and foremostly, thank you for those that thanked me for my up and coming 22 years of continuous sobriety. So yeah, you're sitting in front of someone now that has 22 years of continuous sobriety at a day at a time. I just wanted to sort of put it out there that addiction doesn't necessarily hurt the individual that's using. It affects the circle around, the love, the compassion, the consideration, the respect around the family, because it all goes out the window. And the question that I need to ask for you to be listening, if you are listening, or you do choose to listen, are you helping or are you enabling? Because there's a very, very fine line. And the best way to describe that is, in a metaphorical way, is if you had a son, a grandson, a nephew, a niece, and they never had no money, and they kept coming to you, can I borrow a tenner, can I borrow 20, or whatever it may be. And as good people we are, if we have it, we usually lend it with the understanding we're probably never going to see it again, because they haven't got any, I have, so I'll give it. So let me use it as a metaphor. That money is now a bullet. They already have the gun, so now you're giving them the bullet to put in the gun, now to put against their head to squeeze the trigger. How would you feel that the money that you lent a family member, how would you feel if that money resulted in the death of that loved one? Would you take responsibility? Would you feel guilt, shame and remorse? Or what do you need the money for? Oh, you're going to have food. Okay, I'll buy you some food. Oh, you need some electric. Give us your key. I'll go and fill your electric up. Oh, you want your phone credit for your phone? Okay, what network you want? I'll get you a top up. There's lots and lots of ways of looking at the problem and moving it from rather than an enabling situation to a positive outcome for you and for the alcoholic addict. So what I'm really sort of talking about today is I'm here to help you, the families, because I don't believe in this day and age there's enough information and enough ethos to help you, the family that were affected. You didn't ask for someone in your family someone you love and care for to be addicted, first and foremostly. Secondly, what is it doing to your family? You from an outside looking in, you can see what's happening, or are you that befogged by the insecurity and the manipulation that you can't really see it? Because that does happen too. That's no one's fault. All I want really trying to sort of put across today is whoever that might be in your family, you do have some feelings for that person. You do have some love, you do have some care, some respect for them. That's why you get so angry. So if I can cast your mind back to a time when they weren't using mood-altering chemicals, maybe it was their childhood, when you had a moment of complete unconditional love for them. Maybe it was pushing them on a swing, or chucking them up on a swimming pool or on a slide. There's 1,000 different scenarios that you would know within your family that you had that moment. So I want to take you back to that moment. Would you have that anger and that resentment and that guilt, shame, and remorse that you're feeling now? Would you say to that child, what's wrong with you? Addiction is not about choice. Let's get that over. It's about behaviour. It's not about the substance. It's about behaviour. And consequently, as you get deeper and deeper into addiction, the more lies, more deceit, the more stories are just so unbelievable that you'd never want to believe, But you do, because you're trapped in that vicious cycle of denial. Because you don't want to accept that someone you love may have a problem. And then it poses that question, where do I go for help? How much is it going to cost? Well, within the UK, within the world really, there isn't a great lot of help. It's all about money. But there are people like myself and other individuals like myself that are out here, and we've gone through the system and we've come out the other side. Having 22 years of experience, it does stand me as a qualified individual. I am a qualified interventionist, sober coach. Sober coach is nothing to do with a 12-step program. It basically gives you different concepts and different belief systems and different niches in working with someone that can't necessarily attend meetings or get into treatment. It's like a day program. We can supply that to people. But first and foremost, the family, you, might be suffering also. So we need to get to the root cause of the problem. And someone like myself would come into the home, speak to the family, the ones that are having to deal with the mood swings, the aggression, the arguments, the screaming, the shouting, the terrors, We know it all too well. And it's just a way I can come into your home and help you combat that and give you some support. Because as the old saying goes, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. I speak from the hip, I speak from the heart. I speak as I find, and it does come across a bit harsh sometimes, but that's the truth. I can't wrap it up and gift wrap it in any other way. That's me. So I'm a sort of a Marmite sort of guy. I'm just putting it out there because I've done a lot of research of late, and not necessarily just to do with COVID, but the pandemic is one thing, but mental health is being mentioned quite a lot, and being locked in, not to be able to do this, not to be able to do that, and our circles have got very small, and we do feel a bit penned in, you know, and now things are starting to change, and going back out, it's a bit scarier. But, you know, the reality of what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to suffer alone. There are people like myself that will come out and help, you know. In a normal situation that I would be, you know, to come out to someone's home, I would, you know, first and foremost do a FaceTime or a Zoom chat, get some information, do some writing, and obviously give you something to write about. And then I would arrange a time that the addict or the alcoholic who's in dire straits wouldn't be necessarily around. And I would come up and have a coffee with you and have a look and be at one with you and have your corner, have your back. And then, you know, if you wanted to proceed, then we could possibly look at alternatives of how to do it. But it's about giving you, the family, the strength. You know, there isn't a turn, a twist, a lie, a cheat that myself haven't done. And I know it, because, you know, the truth sets us free at the end of the day. And the question is, how free do you want to be? Do you want to continue in this life of a never-ending circle of pain and anguish? Because I know how painful it can be. And I do understand that when you're in that cycle of complete and utter mayhem, you just don't believe that no one will understand. But there is, believe me, there are people out there that do understand. It's vast amount more than there was 10 years ago, because this isn't new. You know, we do an intervention, which is, there's a surprise model, and there's called an invitation model. And an intervention is basically not something you see on, well, you do see him on Dr. Phil, and you do see him on certain TV's programs, but, you know, in all honesty, they're not easy things to implement. There's a lot of work that goes on to get the end game, you know, and sometimes that end game can be whatever you want it to be, not necessarily going to treatment. It might be to eject. You know, I had a couple of clients of friends a few years ago. They had what was it? He was, I'll paraphrase it, and I think he was about 40 years old, and the parents were like early 70s. And their life savings have been sort of, you know, taken by the son because he'd been smoking crack. And the mum and dad's opinion was, well, if we let him smoke it in the house, at least we know where he is. Now, would you say that's helpful? Would you say that's enabling? It's crazy. And to say the least, I got a call from a friend saying that the father actually locked his son in the house. It's not a clever thing to do. I understand where it comes from, but it doesn't help. It actually ups the ante, you know. The possibilities, if anything happened to that son in their home, under the influence, burning the house down and dying, the mum and dad would be done for murder. Scary, isn't it? Anyway, I think I've waffled on a lot. I will start making a bit more contribution to these, and maybe I'll pick up from left off where I was before. I hope and pray that you've had a good day, and I hope I've given you some content and some understanding of what an intervention is. Please don't hesitate to PM me, DM me, or email me at sobertogetherness@gmail.com. You know, it's not hard. Or you can find me. I'm out on social media platforms. So, yeah, crack on. Lovely chatting to you. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.